What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Espresso, and it's Thursday, my dudes. You know what that means, another episode of the 5 things that changed here within Black Ops 3, the series where we take a look at everything that's changed from the alpha and the beta to the current present times that it is right now in-game. So, before we get too far into it, I want to thank you dudes so much for the continued support on this series. Every single week, you guys absolutely crush this, so thank you dudes for that, and if you do like this video and the series, drop a like down below if you do enjoy, and if you guys are new to the channel and you want to stay up to date with this, we do one of these each and every Thursday, so make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay in tune. So with that said, let's talk about our 5 things here within this episode. The first thing we're gonna do is actually a 2-for-1, but it deals with the same specialist, so I figured we could encompass both of these into one. Today we're gonna kick it off with the Reaper, and this one, believe it or not, he actually has had some changes to him since the alpha. The early alpha actually was one of the biggest changes were, but you guys probably noticed the ones from the beta to currently, that actually being the scythe ammo as well as recoil. Firstly, let's start with the recoil. There's not much to begin with on this, but there was a little bit added to it after the initial launch of Black Ops 3. There's been a couple nerfs to the scythe and the Reaper in particular, but the biggest one actually deals with the ammo counter. If you guys do remember back in the beta, there was actually 200 shots available to use with the scythe. Now, instead of 200 shots, there are only 100 available to the player, which is a massive change, and honestly, no matter how you spin it, it is a lot to think about. You're losing 100 shots, and even if you just think about it in the sense that it's only halved, that's still half of your scythe gone. So it is a big change. I can't really say that I notice it too much, but it has been a gradual thing where it was nerfed. Some people weren't too fond of it. But the other huge change, which actually some of you guys might not know, is that in the early alpha of Black Ops 3's multiplayer, Reaper actually had an ability not of psychosis, but that of glitch. So whereas Prophet now has glitch, that's actually not what it used to be. So would have been a massive change up for what Reaper would have been able to play as, and something that, though it might not shake up the entire gameplay experience of the game, would be really weird to see if we saw it now. So that is something I think that was very cool, and it's something that was a huge change that really affected how the specialist came to be. But next up, number 2 on the list here today is actually the announcer and voiceover is different in the alpha. Now, I'll let you guys listen to it here for a few little clips, and you can see what exactly I mean by this.
We have the enemy flag. Our flag has been taken. They dropped our flag. Our flag has been returned.
So as you can see early on, it wasn't as high-pitched of a voice, even though the voice that we see now for what really is our voiceover actor in-game, it's still pretty deep, but this one was a little bit deeper as well. If you hear any of the callouts and all that kind of stuff, there's not really the static of what would it be over almost a comm link, if you want to put it that way. It's got a little bit more of a texture to it, and this one is more so rather just a clean talking voice. So this one doesn't really affect the gameplay once again, but it is massively different in how we perceive things in terms of the audio. I'm a huge audio guy, so this is really weird to me to go back and hear something that I'm not used to for the last 8 to 10 months that this was live and like this from the beta and up. So it is an interesting little change up here. Nonetheless, I thought it was very cool. The next one is actually domination. This one's probably gonna shake you up real weird again too here with this, but in the alpha, it wasn't 100 points to win a round. It was actually 130. So that, to me, I don't know how this would have played out in the stages that it was. Obviously, it wasn't completed in development, and it probably wasn't ever going to be set at 130 per round, but it was something that during the beta, it was a little bit different, and it was just a weird little change up that watching some alpha gameplay, I didn't really notice it until a little bit later on in the footage, and I just looked at it, and I was kind of baffled. I was like, is that a typo or something? But sure enough, it was 130, and it was the score limit for that round. So an interesting little change here, and moving along into the 4th change here today, it actually once again deals with game modes, and we're gonna talk again slightly on domination, as well as CTF. Both of those icons for the game modes were changed up pretty drastically. What we see in this alpha footage is nothing like what we have today in the capture the flag as well as domination icons. They changed up pretty big time in terms of that, but I think they look better now as a little bit more three-dimensional than they do in this current alpha footage. The alpha was a little bit more simplified, which isn't really a bad thing. I do like the images that are associated with the game modes back then as well, but for some reason I just feel like the capture the flag and domination icons and other ones alike we're just a little bit better here now, currently in the game that we have right now. So, slightly minor change, but this next one is one that kind of relates to last week's episode, but not really in unlocks. Some people really got on me because I messed up the one, I just butchered it back and forth, what the unlock was here for it, and I had a bunch of different numbers in front of me, so bear in mind with me with that, it does happen, mistakes can be made. So I double checked all of these numbers here for you, but these ones actually are the Scorestreaks revised from the beta phase of the game, in which we're taking a look at the previous amount of score that was required to get the streaks compared to now. There's actually a big change up in a lot of these. The majority of the streaks actually have been changed up since the beta. So let's just get right into listing these here. The UAV was previously 425 score, that currently sits at 500. The CUAV used to be 575 score, that currently is 600. The Dart used to be 600, that's currently 650. The Guardian used to be 650 and is now currently 700. The Hellstorm was 700, which is currently now 800, which, a little bit of a side note, actually the Hellstorm was attainable before the Lightning Strike in the beta. The Rolling Thunder was 900 and it currently is 950, but you have to bear in mind that this was pre-nerf as well, so there were more drones that did a lot more damage individually for less score. So that one was pretty powerful. The Talon was 975 score, that currently is at 1050 now. The Cerberus was at 1000 score and it's actually currently 900, so it got a little bit of a drop there and made it a little bit more easy to be able to earn that one. The Hater used to be 1150 and it currently is 1200 score. The Raps were 1275 and those are currently 1300. The Power Core was 1300 and it currently dropped down to 1250. The GI unit used to be 1550 and now it currently sits at 1600, and the Mothership used to be 1600 but now that currently is bumped up to 1700. So as you can see, a ton of changes here within the score that is required to get these streaks, and a lot of them were basically because during the beta some people said, you know what, this is way too OP for how little it actually requires. And then some of the other ones, just like the Cerberus, that was a little bit underpowered, so they lowered the score for it. So that is a really cool little interesting look, I think, to go back and see just how differently the things that we play with each and every day, how much they actually did get changed for when we can earn them. So that, I think, is where we're going to wrap this episode up here today, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to conclude episode 9 of the 5 things that changed. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this episode, and if you did, make sure you leave a like rating down below. It really does help the video out. And if you guys want to leave your thoughts down there in the comment section down below, I would love to hear your thoughts. Which of these different changes do you think was the most intriguing? Which do you think was the most needed? All that kind of good stuff. Whatever you have to say, feel free to do it down there in the comments below. But thank you dudes so much for watching. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. If you guys are new here, we do this each and every single Thursday, so keep up to date by subscribing. And if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, that's the best place to keep in touch with me over there. But thank you dudes so much for watching. My name is BO3. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.